Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Sahaj Tales podcast. It has been a while, and I have my new guest with me, Rick Abbey, and we are doing episode 10 of this podcast. It has been quite some time now since we have done this podcast, and I'm really happy to be back. How are you, Rick?
Hey man, Eid Mubarak to everyone that's observing. Thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of this, bro. And I'm doing great. I'm with the great Sahaj. Can't be better, bro.
Yeah, thank you so much. And Eid Mubarak to everyone as well as, because it's Eid. So, Eid Mubarak to everyone. I hope everyone enjoyed celebrating, whoever celebrated it. And it is, you know, Anyway, yeah, it's wonderful to have you here, Rick. How are you doing? How's everything going?
I'm good. I'm good, man. All is well. I'm here visiting in Dubai. Got a few things lined up, and not too long ago we celebrated your birthday. So for everyone that didn't wish Sahaj a happy birthday, you can wish him a happy belated birthday, and it was a blast. Thank you so much for that. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was. It was a lot of fun. It was good. No, so I wanted to ask you. So what have you been doing lately so far? I mean, what's been happening so far?
Uh, I've been doing a few things recently with Ajay Singh, our director, and the lead actor Sunny Koshal and Yami Gautam, and of course the community's own Jeet. We did a film called Tornikal Ke Baka, which
Yeah.
means, if I'm translating it correctly, and please jump in, Sahaj, because my Hindi is terrible. It means thieves in the sky. It's an extraordinary script.
Yeah,
Um, it did very
it
very
means
well in India.
it's not thieves in the sky.
What's that?
It is the thief came out and ran.
Well, there you go. So there you have it. Yeah.
Yeah, what were you saying
So
before?
yeah. What's that?
What were you saying before that? Just now?
No, I was saying that the film did very very well on all Netflix platforms. It was number one in the UAE for a while.
Yeah.
It was number one in India, and I think in Bangladesh and in Pakistan and some other places. But right now,
Hmm.
as far as I can tell, we're actually number two globally on Netflix, and it was a blast to do. They shot some scenes in India and in Dubai, and
Hmm.
it's another one for the community. And as I mentioned,
Yes, it's
one
true.
other community member, Jeet Singh, was also there with me. So it was
Hmm.
exciting. Yeah.
That's great. That's fantastic. So tell me, Rick, how did this all start, and what was your journey growing up in the UAE like?
Oh wow. Okay. I'm glad you actually asked me that because I haven't really told this story to a lot of people except the people that really know me. So for those tuning in that already know the story, yeah. Sorry to sound like a broken record, but who knows? Maybe you might find out some things um, that I haven't told you before. So I've started. I mean, really by chance. I started walking and talking at 9 months old. Uh, and since then, I've just been always interested in telling stories. And Ma used to record me, and then eventually a brother doing imitations of people on 8-track tapes. Back in my day, we didn't have CDs, we didn't have any of that. So I started doing that, and then I acquired, one hell of a reputation in the family of being, an entertainer. And then that flash
Yeah.
forwarded to grade school, where I took part in a lot of plays, and then on when I was in 10th grade, what ended up happening was something that would have be the start of a chain of reactions of things that would help me realize, my destiny, so to speak. So there were a bunch of kids, and they were interviewing us, or they weren't interviewing us, but they, we were performing a song. I don't remember which song, right? And I remember that we were in our class and people were singing, and then it seemed kind of like an elimination round, whereas the number of kids got smaller and smaller and smaller. And with every round that we're singing, I think we had like 5 or 6 rounds. It was very unnerving and scary because at the time, you know being 10 years old, not 10th grade, sorry, right? I was in the second grade and I was 10 years old, so just wanted to rectify that. you know
Okay.
what's it called? um yeah, so we had all this going on. And
Yeah.
so every time you had kids coming in, uh, sorry, I meant like leaving. We all got scared. We thought we were in trouble until we were down, I think, to 4 or 5 people, maybe 4 or 5 kids.
Yeah.
And then they told us,
Yeah.
congratulations, you're going to be part of, the upper rendition of Hansel and Gretel. And so for the past 3 months, we learned all about, projecting our voice from our diaphragm, you know, uh, the drinking hot tea, uh, having honey, no cold drinks, and we gave up all of our weekends just training and training and training and training. Even after school, we were training and training and training. So it was 3 months of grueling training. And the night that I was supposed to perform, I actually got sick.
Okay.
But Ma didn't raise no quitter, so we went ahead with her show. So my first official professional show with British opera singers that they flew in, and that was run by the show was run by Lady Helen Chamberlain.
Mhm.
I got sick and I had the flu, and what was worse was the person to my left that they paired me with, and this is over 3 months, right? And and then come to opening night, had garlic breath. So when you project, you're projecting all the way from your diaphragm, so it all comes out. So I know what you had for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and everybody does, right? Whenever you project. And the person to my right, because I was dazed from the smell of the garlic, it confused me, right? Um, yeah, so I was forgetting my line, so I was getting jabbed right in the ribs. So it wasn't a pleasant night, to say the least. And by the time I was done with the show, we got a standing ovation. I swear to God, I'd never do it again. I'd never perform. But we have a saying: "I want, you want, and God does what He wants." So flash forward a few years later. Uh, I didn't do anything in high school except that I was a class clown and I imitated, teachers and. Uh, there was even a story that I imitated my biology teacher who was tutoring one of her like one of my friends, and we made a deal that at the time they had like a answering machine. So after the answering machine would go off, there'd be the long beep. That they still use those today. God, I sound so old, right? And I was supposed to get a cue, but I didn't get the cue, and so I just recorded his voice. So he's sitting there thinking that it's actually him talking, you know.
Mhm.
But right after that, I dabbled a little bit in art. I wanted to be an artist. So I have 2 British degrees. Is it two? No, 4 British degrees. What they call two A levels in art and design. So I dabble a little bit in art. But during that time, after I graduated, I worked in a modeling agency with a friend of mine, and I was a marketing representative. And guess what? Your life comes full circle. A few years later, when you're 20s, and guess where the fashion show that we were supposed to run was going to happen? It was at the same venue, the Le Méridien in Abu Dhabi. So that was just my life coming full circle. And they wanted me to model, but then I think when that wanted to happen, the company shut down. But we were looking at a newspaper, and they were advertising for voiceover artists. Now, by then, I realized that yes, I want to perform, and by the suggestion of a friend, he said, "You know what? You might as well do acting. You're not, you're not smart enough to do anything else." And so I took his advice, and I looked at the article. So me and a friend went,
Hmm.
right? Yeah, high school friend. His name is Amr Al-Asi. Great guy, very talented. Okay. And, we wanted to try out. So, but first we had to call. So I'd
Hmm.
call the studio where they wanted the voiceover artists, and they would just, hang up the phone in my face countless times until I decided, me and my friend Amr were like, you know what, let's go there. And it was right across the street from the place that just shut down, right? I mean,
Yeah.
what are the odds of that happening, right? Okay, so
Yeah.
we went there, and they misunderstood what I was trying to say, and they booked me for a session. I'm like, no, but I don't want a session. I mean, I want a session, but I don't have a session booked. So the misunderstanding actually had me going into the booth and scoring my first paid contract, as as a voiceover artist. And I did all sorts of radio spots, some promotions for I think it was the sequel to The Matrix, The Scorpion King, and a bunch of other ads. Uh, I even did Taxi 2, which was screening at the time. And so you had my voice blasting out in the radios and the cinemas everywhere, throughout the UAE.
Hmm.
Sorry about that. Yeah. So, and then from there, they didn't have, they didn't teach anything close to acting in the UAE, at least not officially. So the first time they did that, I enrolled in university in 2002, and I enrolled in the first class called a film history class. I'll never forget it. And that was the start. I would dare say the start of like the yeah the second chapter of my journey, where I loved filmmaking so much that I got involved in every aspect. But then I ended up getting known as an actor, both in the university that I studied at, and the other universities. And then you had something that was created by Masoud Amrallah called the Emirates Film Competition. And from 2002 until 2007, I was averaging more than 50 short films a semester. I was one of the first actors to get an IMDb in the region.
Hmm.
And then that's when the awards started coming in. I did my first film was called, uh, well, in Arabic it's called the Rabub, but in the English translation of that was called A Storm. So we ended up shooting in Ras Al Khaimah, the Red Island, the original island that was connected later on to the mainland. And people loved it so much at the 2002 chapter of Emirates Film Competition that we got a Jury's Choice Award. And then they ended up screening the film. I had a supporting role in that. They ended up screening the film on Sharjah TV and in other places as well. So that's how that started. And then come to 2007, yeah, when I dropped out of school to go pursue a career. But yeah, you wanted to say something, bro?
No, no, no. You were saying something about your work as well, and it's very fascinating. So you dropped out of school like in 2007. So how did I mean? What happened then? What
Okay, so
happened?
I dropped out of school. Yeah, I dropped out of school 2007, and at the time they had the Middle East Film Competition. So I worked in the festival, but at the same time, by then I've picked up a reputation. And one of the people that founded me, she was a Scottish lady who was working in casting from Scotland. She lived there. Her name is Karina Forrester. So she hired me for the film
Hmm.
festival. But before that, we were doing like she's the one who actually got me to sign in with a modeling agency, or not really sign in, but just get to know them and be on their database. I'm like, listen, last time I'm no model, I'm not into that. But that's what a lot of people didn't know, and I didn't know at the time, was that our business grew out of the modeling industry,
Yeah.
right? And then from there, they started to open up a side door for actors and everything. See, I didn't know that, but Karina, took me to the to the agency, and then we started booking like projects and stuff. One of my first projects was actually it was it was actually before I dropped out. No, was it? Yeah, it was before I dropped out in '06. But then I picked things up again at '07. We did a pilot for Candid Camera, Iranian series called Situation Comedy, and we did that in City Center, and that was a lot of fun. Yeah, so that apart from my films, but in '07, flash forward to '07. Yeah, while I was working the Middle East Film Festival, I got to know a lot of people. But then I also knew beyond a shadow of a doubt what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And then I also had a stint doing commercials. I applied for commercials, but I only got picked up 2 years later.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. But also during that time, I was also doing a lot of hosting gigs. I did hosting for Red Bull. Uh, I did it for a friend of mine. His name was Tamer. He's big in the b-boy circuit. So I just did it for fun. It was in Abu Dhabi. It was for the Red Bull air race. It was the pre-show. So I got on the microphone, decked out in my white dress shirt and Spider-Man tie. Anyone that knows me knows I love Spider-Man. Shaved bald and all, and I just rolled with it. So apart from commercials, I was also doing that, and they loved me so much that they asked me to come in. But I was going to Dubai, and then I came back, and I hosted the Red Bull air race in Abu Dhabi, and then that wouldn't be the last time I actually worked with Red Bull. I ended up doing hosting a bunch of other events. I ended up doing the Red Bull Gravity Challenge. That was a lot of fun. We toured between Dubai and Elaine. So there were two shows in Dubai in the Dubai Academic City. I think that's what it was called, right? Where the Harriet Watt University and all those were, and the Dubai Knowledge Village. Yeah, and also the United Arab Emirates University in Elaine. That was a lot of fun as well. Also did some corporate work as well for the Arab Beverages Forum. I did the launch. I think this was the first launch that Gillette had, where they had an Arab face, and it was the Saudi soccer player Adnan Al Gahtani. So when they were launching the Gillette Fusion, the first product that they launched, I was actually the host of that, or as they call the MC, the Master of Ceremonies. What else? So yeah, I did the Arab Beverages Forum, the first chapter, and they called me again for the second chapter.
Yeah.
And then what else did I do? I hosted a bunch of events. I also was a key member in the events outfit called La Meetna at the Sudanese Cultural Club in Abu Dhabi, right? And what we wanted to do with that, or when they called me in, they asked me to just, host the event. So it was a platform for anyone from the Sudanese community to come in and perform, right? And I hosted that, and I also did stand up in that. So I hosted the first chapter. The second chapter, I introduced Dorian, or actually Dr. Dorian, Paul Rogers, Paulie D, right? Who ended up finding slam poetry event outfit called what's it called? Called Rooftop Rhythms, and that started the partnership with the Lametna Group, and to this day they still do events, slam poetry events and poetry events, but in Arabic, Rooftop Rhythms Arabia, also with the support of the USA mission in the UAE. So that started years ago. And then eventually
Yes.
what ended up happening was I ended up performing with the Meetna group in early 2000s, and I stepped out. Speaking of Sudan, hopes and prayers go out to everybody in Sudan. I hope everybody's family is safe. God bless the martyrs and everyone that's holding on. And all I could say is just stay strong. You know, all all will be well, and our family's well, and I'm hoping and praying for everybody to be well and safe. Yeah, that kind of took a somber turn, but it had to be said.
Yes.
What else can I say? Yeah. Yeah, and then after that, we picked up doing a lot of commercials. But I'm wondering if you have any questions or anything you want to comment on.
Yeah. No, I wanted to ask you.
Sure.
So that film you did with near the Red Sea, whatever you said, the Red Sea
Yeah,
Foundation
sorry
or what?
about that.
Yeah. And I think was it Russell Kamer? Uh, so how is the film scene like back then in 2002?
2002. Well, again, I can't stress how much gratitude we should have to trendsetters and pioneers like Masoud Amrallah, who was also the person that started the Dubai Film and Television, Dubai Dubai Film and sorry, the Dubai International Film Festival, right? Without him, uh, yeah. So without him, we wouldn't really have a lot of platforms. So kudos goes out to him. There were a lot of short films being made at the time, hardly any features. So we had one of the very few features that was going on around that time, you
Hmm.
know? Yeah, so as I said, I was part of this film. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was part of this film called The Storm that was directed by Fadl al-Mahari. And it was one of the very few features that was out there. It was mainly a lot of a lot of short films uh, being made at the time, and I was lucky to be able to build a reputation um, with not just doing films that came out of our university, but I did a lot of collaborations with a lot of artists and a lot of people in the community, and it also helped me know a lot of people that were doing a lot of work, not just locally, but regionally. People from Jordan, people from Bahrain, people from Saudi, all over. So it was beautiful. It was a wonderful time, and I helped it, and I believe it helped sow the seeds for what we have today. Because during that time, we had a lot of people that came out of that. We had Nawaf Janahi, prominent filmmaker. Ali Mustafa, as we know him today, actually had a lot of his films, or I think one of his films that won an award, one of his short films, I can't for the life of me remember, actually came out of the Emirates Film Competition. Khalid Al Mahmoud, right? Well known film director there. And that was the platform that gave us all a voice. Even the international director and producer, fellow Sudanese, Amjad Abul Ala, also came out of that as well. So we all came out of this incubator, I would dare say, right, that Masoud Amrallah came up with, called the Emirates Film Competition. And that was the first festival of its kind, and it took place in Abu Dhabi, and it was, well renowned. We had all sorts of people coming in just based on its reputation, like I don't know if he's still the president, but he was the president of the London Short Film, London Sci-Fi Short Film Festival. So with that incubator festival, that was when the movement started to having not just short films, but slowly sowing the seeds for feature films to what we know of is today.
Hmm.
Yeah. Oops, sorry. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, yeah, no, it does. And what do you think were the improvements that have been made, like since then? And what you know, how do you think it has changed over 20 years, 20 odd years now?
Oh, it changed a lot. And I've been very fortunate to see it being in the business for almost more than 20 years. I've seen a lot of changes. Uh, for example, like let's say in 2012, there was a project that I worked on as an actor, writer, and producer, but it never saw the light of day. But we had a lot of people. We had Hassan Hayes Al Hashimi, right, who was one of her first investors, and then we had Mr. Hamid Al Mazrui, and a bunch of other people helping us out and helping us come up with, I mean, from what we were in 2002 to what we are in at the time 2012. We did the first UAE franchise production where the main base of operations was the UAE, and it was also directed by John Stephen Balthazar, who ended up doing a bunch of commercials for McLaren and Range Rover. So it gathered a lot of people, but also another thing that was happening in 2012, that was uh, another chapter in my life where I started to get to know people from the international uh, film community. Sorry, Hollywood. I met a Hollywood veteran actor, Alexander Folk, and at the time, while we were hiring out actors, because at the time also while I was still studying. Because after 2007, I went back in 2010 to complete my degree,
Yeah,
and during that time, we reached out to agents in the U.S. And all that, and I remember speaking to via correspondence to talents such as Mr. Alexander Folk.
hmm,
And I remember we also had a consultant that told us that we could not hire, or rather, a lot of actors did not want to work with us on our productions because at the time, the Screen Actors Guild Association, yeah,
yeah,
Screen Actors Guild Association, SAG, was separate from the American Film and Television Radio Association, AFTRA, but then they ended up merging eventually. But at the time, it was just SAG in 2012, and we couldn't hire American actors because their contracts did not meet union standards. So in 2012, that was going on. But then you flash forward a few years later, okay, when you had productions such as well, you had Syriana before, and then 2012 you started having productions like Mission Impossible 4. A lot of things changed, and it was because of the movement that was happening in the region, and in particularly in the UAE. I believe, in my humble opinion, when SAG and AFTRA united, they started to raise uh, union members' salaries by 1%. So automatically, they had no choice but to actually acknowledge that, sorry, that the UAE was becoming a hub at the time. And because there's a lot of productions that ended up coming here to the UAE, and a lot of productions that we ended up working on with here, that SAG and AFTRA rules actually covered the UAE many years later, and it wasn't that far off. I mean, since 2012, it was 2000 and no, sorry, not 2012 at the time. It was 2002 that it was. No, not 2002. Sorry, I'm getting my 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 dates mixed up. My apologies. It was 2010. Yeah. 2010, around 2010, 2011. And shortly a year after, 2 years after, there was the inclusion of SAG and After Rules, uh, covering uh, areas outside of the outside of the U.S. and in particular also the UAE. So in just the span of, look at how many years, so much has changed, and now we are considered a very important hub, that also in return gave rise to the salaries of international talent that were also working and doing co-productions here in the UAE. So, and that just happened in like a span of years. It wasn't even that, that long of a period. If you look at throughout history, a lot of these movements that have happened and a lot of these changes took years and years. But for us, it was only a span of years. It wasn't like a decade or anything. So
Yes.
that is to the credit of the UAE to 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 really pulling the bootstraps and doing the work, and to be recognized, and to allow us, UAE based talent to have a voice, and have the opportunities that we have. And forever without them, we wouldn't be where we are. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, yeah. That's absolutely that's amazing though. I mean, like, considering how far everyone has come since that time, I can see a
Yeah.
lot of changes and a lot of improvements. I mean, I started this off when I was in university in 2014, and
Wow.
since then, like, things have just like grown so much over the years, and I've seen so much of growth in the industry. Yes, it's not quite
Oh,
where,
totally.
like maybe not like London or New York City or LA or something, not there yet. But people are getting more creative with their work, and there's more independent films being made, and a lot of stuff is happening, and there's a lot of improvement in all these things. Yeah, so this is what I think about it. So so my next question is,
Yeah, man.
when did
No,
you?
no, yeah, yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you. And you got to give credit where credit is due. And you did mention, but before you ask me the next question, I'm sorry, I just have to interject. Uh, what people fail to realize is that, as far as the other industries, such as India, which bought the bought the camera from the Lumiere brothers, right? And Egypt, and a lot of these other industries, such as Tunisia, they had a lot of time to develop. But by the time everybody developed, including Hollywood, you know, the magnifying glass was on us. So, everybody got their chance to crawl, walk, and then run. But for us, we were caught between crawling and running with our shoelaces tied. And as far as I can see, we've done, pretty well. We have a lot of, co-productions, and I was very fortunate to be, in a lot of them, right? I had a chance to work on, two Hollywood films, and recently with Chornikal Ke Baga, that was like my third Bollywood film, and there's a lot more coming on the way. So yes, we're not there yet, and that's a very important uh, statement that you made. Yet, but everybody else had time to develop while they were waiting for us to develop. But we're developing at an alarming rate, like you said, because the different avenues of creativity that are provided to not just me, but other artists in the community, and it's moving at an alarming rate, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
please continue.
yeah. My question was that, like, okay, what do you think are the changes that need to be made since this year, like 2023, like in the industry, so that it can progress further?
Um, well, for me, from what I'm seeing, I mean, I didn't go to any formal acting school. I just want to to make that clear. Um, and I was told that, you know, uh, we're actually lucky to not have any formal acting schools. I mean, that's slowly changing, of course. But I'm not formally trained, so a lot of one of the most important things that I've learned, I mean, apart from definitely doing the work, is learning on the ground. Learning on the ground. You cannot substitute education for anything. And I think you know that is probably one of the most important things that we can do is learn and learn from each other. And I believe that will catapult us to the next level. I mean, we already have names making waves already that have come from the community from here. Uh, I wouldn't dare talk about myself. I mean, I've been lucky, but then there's a lot of names that have come out of here, such as Sajad de la Fruz, such as what's his name? Uh, oh, there's a bunch of names. I know I mentioned them before. Amjad Abul Ala, right? And a bunch of other names as well that I can't for the life of me remember. Ashwin Kumar in the South Indian industry as well. Uh, yeah, and there's a lot of new faces also. I've been fortunate to work with one of them. One of them being Jeet Singh, who I told you was with me, Chornikal Ke Baga, and a new powerhouse that's rising, and he's picking up a lot of steam, like Karan Sharma as well, and the people that were able to uh, make that happen, and we definitely need a lot more of them, are the gatekeepers, which I would dare say call them the gate openers, such as Leah Wong, Ivor Gracias, Alex G. So with people like that, the sky's the limit, and the fact that it was only recently, and I'm talking recently as in a little bit before 2012, maybe a little bit before that, but when I started, we didn't have any film commissions. Now in the UAE, in the span of less than 10 years, we have two film commissions. One in Dubai, the Dubai Film and Television Commission, and we have the Abu Dhabi Film and Television Commission. I think that's just insane, given given the short amount of time that we took to like grow. And I've been
Yeah.
fortunate enough to grow with the community as well. But in answer to your question, and I can't stress it enough, education and awareness, education and awareness, education and awareness, and we need to uh, really keep it real and understand that there's a community and that we have each other to grow and prosper. And with podcasts and with avenues just like this one, may I just take a moment to give you like and to give you some applause, and you do deserve a round of applause, bro, because this
Thank you.
is exactly what we need. We need podcasts. We need platforms like this in order to provide awareness and educate current members of the community and future members as well. Yeah, for
Yes,
sure.
thank you so much. Thank you
Good
very
job.
much for that. Yeah. Yeah. And my final question about it, about this, what has been your best experience, you know, in the UAE or elsewhere, acting?
Wow, that's a tough question. Again, I cannot stress enough how much the UAE has been instrumental in giving me the opportunities that I could only dream of. I mean, starting off, I could only dream of just doing, I mean, the goal has always been Hollywood, but thanks to the opportunities that I've been given here, okay, I was able to do like three Bollywood films in Saho. I was able to do local films in Until Midnight and The Tale of Shadows with notable, directors like Tariq Al Kazim. I was able to do a lot of TV series like Ken M's, with Abu Dhabi TV yesterday, and a bunch of other series. But if we're talking about, you know, if we're talking about films or just experiences in general, every experience has its own gems, has its own uh, beautiful memories. Like I only imagined I could probably maybe do stuff, you know, on a Hollywood set. But because of the opportunities that I've been given, I was able to do, tap into, the Indian film industry as well with this current film that we have coming up. And I know I'm going to slaughter the name Adu Javitam, The Goat Life, with Hollywood actor Jimmy John Louis, Malayalam superstar Pitrivaj. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. Uh, fictional autobiography that's starring him. It's got me, representing the UAE, award-winning director Blessy. The soundtrack is done by A.R. Rahman, and Rasul Pikuti, is doing the sound design. So I never thought that I would get a chance to do that. In 2019, we're shooting that film, and then, first, Hollywood co-produced film here that I got a supporting role in, called The Misfits, and then after that, another film, came out, which was formerly known as North of the Ten, right? Uh,
Yes.
and all that. So it's just a journey. It's a journey that it's a journey that is fused in with a dream come true. I'm just totally amazed and always just overwhelmed by the blessings that have been, showered upon me and others like me. And I'm just at every stage of my life and career just overwhelmed, because I can honestly say I never saw this coming. I never saw any of this coming. And it just keeps coming. And I'm forever grateful because there's just so much happening and more, you know? Uh, and with every project, I always take a moment to get to the set and just have a moment between myself and the creator, and just be very grateful, and
Yes.
just take it in and say, wow, how lucky and blessed I am to work in a business that I love and I'm very passionate about, and I'm very fortunate to work with others as well. And with every production, I don't know if people know this, but it's like a reunion, because our field is so small, be it here, be it Hollywood, be it Bollywood, wherever. Our field is so small, that we're always, supporting each other, and we always tend to have reunions with people that we haven't seen for a very, very long time. So it's
Yes.
kind of like a celebration, not just a celebration of a story to be told, whether whatever project we're working on, but a celebration of just, doing what we love and reuniting always. I mean, how long have I known you for, bro? I've known you for, like, I don't know, a good 3, 4
5 years.
years at least, right? But
Yeah.
look at us. Here we are again on your podcast, telling the story. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
You know what
true.
I mean? It's beautiful. So I
Yeah.
hope that answers your question, because yeah, that's how it can be summarized, with just, gratitude, and every project just brings its own, you know, um, blessings and gifts.
Yes, that's true.
Speechless.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway,
Yeah.
thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it, Rick. And it's been a pleasure having this conversation with you. And I'm looking to create more content for myself, obviously, but I hope that all everything works out well
Absolutely.
for you in your work, in within acting and within maybe filmmaking, because you mentioned filmmaking in this episode as well. Um,
I have mentioned filmmaking. Yes, I have dabbled in a little bit of writing. I've done some stuff for Fox. There's this one uh, show um, that covered technology. It was done in English, so it was based on my script. And then I've done a lot of other work as well. but I'm mainly doing acting and trying to support the community as much as possible. Also, I've said this before, and I'll say this again, and I cannot stress on this enough. Whatever I do or whatever you do is is a testament and a feather in the cap of the community, because we are from this community, right?
Yes.
So whatever we do, we elevate those with us as well,
Yes.
forever and always, you know. And whenever I'm doing something, it's to be attributed to all of us. If I'm doing something good, then the next day, or next project, Sahaj, you're going to do something better. Someone else is going to do something better, and that way we'll create that constant stream of competition that will always elevate us and bring us to further and further and further heights.
That's true. That's true.
For sure.
Yeah. Anyway, thank
Yeah,
you so
yeah,
much
man.
for
No, thank
coming on
you.
that.
Thank you for having me, bro. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for coming on the episode. And this is the end of the episode. And I'll see you later on the next one. And yeah, goodbye.
All right. Have a good one. Community before industry.
Yes.
Thanks, bro. See you. Eid Mubarak.